Hello, in this video I'm gonna show you the basic usage of the Foot-Work add-on. In my example, I have the rig from Mixamo converted to Blender by the Mixamo rig add-on, and I have the run animation looping for 6 times in this NLA. Foot-Work add-on only works with the current action, so you need to bake this action from an alley to the bones, which I have already done. So I'm gonna disable the NLA, and now this character is moving by the keyframe animation in current action. With Foot-Work add-on, you need to specify the armature here. So this is called export. The global forward axis is the direction which your character is facing. In this case, it is -y. So I specify the -y here. And the root bone, it is called the control master. For the stride tool, it will help you adjust the distance the character can move in specific frames. To use this, you need to specify the anchor bone, which is the bone that touches the floor at the first and the last frame of a loop. Here it is the foot IK right. I'm gonna type in foot IK, control foot IK right here. And you need other additional IK bones that needed to move the character. In my case, are these foot, hips, and the hands. So there are 4 more bones to add here. I'm gonna add slots for 4 of them. With these selected, you can specify the start frame and the end frame. And the cycle interval is the number of frames in one loop. If you don't want to count frames, you can specify the number of the first frame of the second loop minus the first frame of the first loop. It is 22 minus 1. And you can calculate the current stride distance by clicking this button. Now you get the current distance in this box, which is 2.64. Now you can adjust this to any number, but not too far off from the original, because your animation will look weird. So let me try 3 and apply distance. Now it will move 3 meters here, or maybe 1. You can also specify the percentage of the current distance, say 200%. The root motion will change your animation from in place to root motion and back and forth. You need to specify the torso bone here. It is called hips. You may notice that it is duplicate here. Generally it's fine because the add-on just skipped this, but I'm gonna remove this for the sake of clarity. We need the right foot here. Right now my character is moving in root motion mode. I'm gonna switch to in place or back to root motion. The offset tool will make your character move forward. All you need to do is specify the anchor bone, which is the bone that touched the ground at the first and the last frame of a loop. So it is the right foot here. I'm gonna remove the right foot from here and add the hip bone. The start frame, it is supposed to be the first frame of the second loop, because we don't need to offset the first loop here. We need to offset from the second loop onward. So it will be 22. And with the default option, you can just offset bones. And now your character will move, run forward. I'm going to undo this to show you other options here. The process backward, it will just process from the end frame to start frame. If you want your character to be here at frame 106, you can specify 106 here, no, 105, and process backward. The accumulate will readjust the offset distance for each cycle so that your character is moving forward continuously. If you do not check this, it will just offset for one loop and the other loop will offset at the same value. We want to offset from 22 to the end, but not accumulate when you offset. It will run forward for the first, second loop and will stay there. The custom offset location will let you move your character elsewhere. Let's try -8 on x-axis. The use dominant axis will only offset on the axis that dominates the movement. In this case, it should be on the y-axis. This option can help make your character run straight forward, not straying sideways. The root motion is, instead of offset these IK bones, it will just offset the root instead. It will be like this. The turn tool will not actually turn your character, but it will add the pivot point to a specific location for you to turn your character. You want to turn your character from this point, you need to add the pivot at a specific point. In most cases, to be more natural, the pivot point should be at a toe bone, which in this rig it will be the foot 01. So I'm going to add the foot 01, left and right. But these toe bones are not the bone that move your character. See, you cannot move this. So you need to uncheck this add constraint. And oh, we're missing the foot, the right foot here. So I'm going to add the right foot here. Foot IK right. This bone is needed to move your character, so I'm keeping this checked. I want to turn from this frame at the left foot. I'm going to add a pivot at the left toe, and on the next frames, I finish turning here. I'm going to rotate the pivot on the z-axis, maybe here, and I to insert keyframe. Now the character will turn from this point onward. Okay, maybe here I want to turn from, okay, this foot, the right foot. I'm gonna add a pivot here on this frame and finish turning at this frame. Rotate z-axis, insert keyframe. Okay, so this tool will leave the constraint on your bones here. So it is recommend to work your way from the first frame to last frame sequentially to not messing up the previous keyframes. So when you finish rotating the pivot like this, you can just select all the bones and bake action with visual keying and clear constraint to remove to apply the constraint and remove all of them. When you baked it, you can just remove this collection afterward. The next tool is the ground tool. It helps you drop your character on the ground plane or any object. First, I'm going to create the ground object. Right there. Now, to make your character running on this slope object, I'm gonna specify the ground object here, which is called grid. And the start frame, end frame, you need the IK bones. I don't need these toe bones anymore. And check that all the IK bones are here. This reference ground is the current ground where your character is moving on. It is if you leave it empty, it means on the zero plane, on this green line. So you can just snap to ground and your character will run on the ground. To switch back to this previous ground, you can swap this and snap. You will get back to the zero plane. Now, there are some cases that with this tool will fail. Let me show you. I'm gonna move this upward, and this ground, it will fail to snap. It is because this ray cast distance is equals to 2, which is 2 meters up from the zero plane and looking downward to find ground. In this case, the ground is above 2 meters, so when you're looking from 2 meters down, you cannot find ground, so it will fail. To fix this, you need to adjust this ray cast distance to cover the highest point of the ground, which in this case it could be 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 is enough. Okay, let me undo this first. I'm gonna put it back to the zero plane and adjust this to 4. Now it should be correctly snapped on the ground. The pathfinding tool, it will not change your animation in any way. It just create a path for your character to move on. It is helpful to work with this tool from top view because this tool will only find path in 2D space and not accounting for height. So you need to just add these helper objects here. Go to the first frame and add start, go, waypoint, obstacle, and boundary. In some case, you might encounter an error that context is incorrect. You just make sure that your character rig is active object. Now, to work with this, I can adjust the goal where I want my character to move, and move the waypoint, move the obstacle. You can adjust the size of the obstacle here, and the size of the empty. You can duplicate the obstacle to make a wall or something, and adjust the boundary to barely cover the whole area you want your character to move. I'm gonna make a waypoint 1 here, add one more waypoint maybe here. Now you can create path. A curve will be created from starting point to waypoint 1, avoiding obstacle to waypoint 2, and to the goal. When you click this create path, the total length of the path will be calculated here. I'm gonna delete this and adjust the smooth iteration here to make the curve smoother, and simplify factor to reduce a number of points in the curve to make it more smooth. With this curve created and the total path length calculated, you can click this adjust stride to fill out the parameters on the stride here to adjust the total distance your character can run or walk in this entire frame range. You can just click apply stride distance, and now your character will run from first frame to last frame at the correct distance to cover the whole curve here. Which leads us to the next tool, the curve tool, that can constrain your character onto the curve. So let's specify the curve, which called path object. We need the IK bones all in there, and just constrain to curve. Now your character will travel from the first point to the last point in the curve at exactly this frame. If you want to drop your character to ground from this point, you can. I'm gonna enable the ground and snap. And that's it for the basic usage of the Foot-Work add-on. In the next video, I'm gonna show you more advanced usage. See ya!